Okay. So first things first, there are now more than 1 billion members on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has massively changed over the last 21 years. When it first started, it was really corporate grey, lots of men in grey suits, and it wasn't really a place for freelancers or small business owners. But over the years, it's massively changed from like 2016 onwards. It's become more of a personal branding platform. A lot of Facebook marketers came over to LinkedIn when the organic reach dwindled there. And then a lot of Twitter, now X, people came over in the last few years. So now it's actually the #1 personal branding platform in the world, as well as the biggest online social network. I love it as an introvert because I can connect with people all around the world without even leaving the house. And I can manage my energy. You don't need to spend all day on LinkedIn. Even Peter before this said to me, I'm probably on it all day, but I'm not. I use LinkedIn like I use my email. I'm in it maybe half an hour a day, doing the right things that move the needle. I'm not in it all day because I don't want to be in LinkedIn all day as much as I love it. So of the 1 billion members on LinkedIn, there's roughly 60 million companies, and it's just a great place to build your brand. So the benefits for introverted freelancers is the same benefits for everyone, really. It's the #1 platform for industry-led content. It's the best platform to build your voice, your authority, and your brand. Advanced connecting capabilities, advanced networking opportunities. I have met Peter from LinkedIn. I'm here today. It's a great research tool to gather market intelligence. I find not enough people use the search bar on LinkedIn. We're all using like Google search every day, but there's, amazing people on LinkedIn, amazing companies, amazing content, amazing events, so many amazing things if you actually use the search bar and filter down. Even on the free version, you can get global speaking opportunities like I'm doing today. You can increase your income by connecting with clients, client referrals and partnerships. So it's not all just about finding your ideal client and sell. You can find, referral partners, partnerships. Oops, sorry about that. The last one didn't come for some reason. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There was one more. But some of the common blocks for introverts are, I'm afraid it won't be perfect. I'm waiting for the right time. There's no such thing as perfection. So don't wait to be perfect on LinkedIn. Don't wait for the right time, because the right time is always now. People find LinkedIn overwhelming. They're not sure of the tech side or what they need to do. They feel like they don't have enough time. Like I said, you can get LinkedIn working for you in half an hour a day. They fear failing and being judged by peers. Don't want to come across as salesy, not ready to kind of go in on the platform. So I'd love to know in the chat box, actually, why is everyone here today? Like, what's your #1 goal? I imagine if you're a freelancer, it's probably to get clients, but it might be something else. So let me know, because I will focus on certain things when I'm going on the slides. So let me know, is it to like build your personal brand? Is it to build your business brand? Is it to get clients? Is it to get, referrals? Don't be shy. Make client connections. Hate it. Yeah, everyone else, don't be shy. Let me know why you're here. Okay. Okay, understand potential. Okay, brilliant. Yeah. Jen, yeah. 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 I actually do think introverts have got the advantage on LinkedIn as well, because we are good at responding, and I'll go into it when we get on to like the content side of things. That's great. I'm actually going to save the chat as well, and I would encourage you all to save the chat. If you don't know how to do it, you can go to the very bottom of the chat kind of area, and you'll see 3 little dots, 3 little ellipses. If you click on it, you'll see a kind of a drop down kind of come up. Save the chat, because at the end then you can look back and see what everyone's after. And I would actually encourage you all, if you feel comfortable, share your LinkedIn URLs in here, because you can go away after today and connect with each other, because you never know, some of you may be referral partners for each other, or some of you might actually be suppliers for each other. So if you want to share your LinkedIn URLs as we're going along, don't be shy. And because I'm a big believer in people going away and connecting and actually using LinkedIn after.
No,
So
that's a fair point, Jen. Yeah, it's something again that we encourage because look, the one of the big learnings that we got from a guy in the States was that freelancers hunting in packs have kind of better success as well. So people complementing each other with complementary skills and pitching for business always kind of helps. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And you can support each other as well. Like, and the more you give on LinkedIn, the more you get back. The law of reciprocity kicks in. And I think too many people are focused on me. But actually, when you give back and you activate and engage with your network, that's when the magic appears. So I think, yeah, the more you can collaborate, the easier LinkedIn becomes. And why not, for example, I'm collaborating with Peter today because Peter's got an audience of my ideal clients. Whereas I could be just focused on getting one client, I get the opportunity to speak to 50, So it's an amazing platform for collaboration. So I promise I'm not going to bore you to that with my life story, but I just wanted to say I first started using LinkedIn in corporate when I moved from Dublin to London about 25 years ago. So it wasn't 25 years ago. LinkedIn's only around 21, but it was at the start of LinkedIn because I realized pretty quickly, even though I'm introverted and I don't really like to put myself in the spotlight, that it was going to be good for me in my job and my career. And I kind of had to be on there and I had to look the part. I didn't want to show up and not put my best foot forward. So I really built up my profile in relation to what I was doing. At the time, I was a personal assistant in London. And I just slowly started to connect with my peers or suppliers, anyone that could help me to do my job better. I didn't post any content on LinkedIn for the first 5 years I was on LinkedIn. And in that time, I built my network and I just fell in love with LinkedIn and the potential of it. I just started to make all these great connections. It really helped me in my job. It helped me to get salary increases, bonuses, just made so many great supplier connections. And yeah, it was just a dream. But obviously, it's very different when you're a business owner. So my approach when I was in corporate, it was about being social, it was about connecting with people, it was about being community focused, but I didn't need to deal with social selling. But I just wanted to tell you that I focused on my profile and building my audience and connecting. But what I missed out on was tracking because I didn't need to worry about tracking or social selling. So I'm going to go into this. But before I posted any content, I still built a great network. So for any introverts here today, kind of thinking, oh, I hate content. I don't think you really, it's quite controversial, but I don't think you have to post content on LinkedIn to get sales as long as you're going into the DMs and as long as you're connecting, because that's where the magic happens for me. I won the title of the most networked PA in London from LinkedIn without ever posting any content. When I posted content, eventually I got my confidence up. Then it kind of exploded for me, and I was ranked as the #1 assistant online, ahead of like Obama's PA and everything. But I believe that your profile and your DMs are the cake, and the content is the icing on the cake. So I will go into this a bit more. So LinkedIn has loads of golden opportunities if you're willing to get over yourself as an introvert and put yourself out there and toot your horn. I know it's not easy. If you struggle, get a professional to help you because with a billion people, you really need to stand out. And I've created so many opportunities for myself just by being social. And we've got that advantage as Irish people, being connection focused and asking other people, how can you help them? That really kickstarts LinkedIn. So I've got on to generate lots of awards and PRs and be invited to #10 House of Lords, not because I'm amazing, but because I'm actually on LinkedIn connecting and having conversations. And I do think introverts have the advantage in the DMs and Irish people have the advantage in the DMs. Okay. So 5 mistakes I see freelancers making. I'm going to go into these and I'm going to tell you about my framework because I think when you're an introvert, you can't just do it. You need to feel in alignment and you need to feel ready to put yourself out there. And if you are an empath on top of being an introvert, you really need to feel fully aligned. And I'm all about a complete holistic approach to LinkedIn, not just focused on content only, because that's only one part of LinkedIn. And there's so much hype on the home feed now that it's all about content influencers and this is how you get clients. Most people suck at copy, you know, some are amazing, but most people suck. So you could be posting copy for years and getting nowhere, or you could be brilliant at content and posting for years, but still not getting clients because you're missing off pieces. So I'm going to go into the mistakes I see you making on LinkedIn. The first is in relation to your profile and brand. So as individuals, I see a lot of people. I work mainly with females, but this is all going to relate to men and women. But I see a lot of people not selling themselves, in particular at the top of their profile. They have a confused message versus a clear message. And with LinkedIn, you need to strip it back and think like a copywriter. And I think because it's the professional platform, a lot of us want to look intelligent, and we put our message out there, but we put too much in there that we actually confuse people and they're not sure what we do at a glance. So I would urge you all after this to have a look at the top part of your profile, the above the fold, if you will. Look at your banner, look at your headshot, and look at your headline and ask yourself, your headshot's an easy one. Would you want to do business with the person in the photo? Is it a selfie? Is it well looked? Do you look professional? If you're charging premium prices, you need to have a professional headshot to stand out. And I know when I changed my professional headshot, the first time I got one done by a photographer, everything changed for me on LinkedIn. Everybody started to connect to me. And yeah, it just totally changed my experience. Before that, I had kind of like a cropped kind of a selfie. And the minute I changed my headshot to a professional one, people treated me differently. And that's just the way it is. You people judge you on appearances. So you definitely need a premium headshot if you want to be attracting premium clients. Your banner and your headline go together, really. So ask yourself, is it clear in your banner what you do? Too many people have no banner at all, which is such a missed opportunity because it's your prime advertising estate on LinkedIn. Or too many people have too much stuff in their banner, too many words that you're like, what the hell? So my advice is like, keep it simple. You know, if you're a photographer, have photographer in your banner. You know, if you're a coach, put coach. Don't get too jazzy with taglines or anything. Just really ask yourself, is it clear from your banner what you do? And I would urge you to connect with each other because you can give each other feedback after today as well. Like this is a good opportunity to get feedback from your peers, which is priceless, okay? And your banner, your headline, I'm going to give you a quick headline formula. There's lots of ways you can position yourself in your headline, but the easiest one is kind of like an ABC. The A is, what are you? What's your title? B is, who do you help? So who's your niche? And the C is, what's the transformation that you offer? What's the result that you bring? Because so many people forget to put the C in. Think of it as a sausage and the sizzle. So they're selling the sausage, but they're not selling the sizzle. And people will come to you and pay you money for the sizzle. Okay. So who are you? Who do you help? And what's the transformation that you bring? So for me, I'm a LinkedIn consultant. I tend to help female coaches, consultants, and creatives. And the sizzle is I help them to attract their ideal clients in an easy and aligned way. Okay. So ask yourself, is it clear from your headline? Because people won't read on. If you don't grab them in this first area, they're not going to read your about section, which is what most people kind of agonize about. So Peter, I know you've raised your hand if you want to hop in.
Yeah, Jen, just on that, I mean, one of the things that kind of grinds my gears when I read some of the LinkedIn profiles, whatever, that everybody kind of defaults to this kind of business jargon. You
Yeah.
know, proven track record for delivering results is a common one. There's one that's quoted. It was quoted in that Guardian article. Belief in integrated solutions, as if people personally hate joined up thinking. You know,
Yeah.
it's stuff like that. I think that really kind of, Jesus, seriously, is this created by AI or is it created by humans? You know, Is it better
Yeah.
to default into something that's much more plain speaking and
Oh,
clear?
definitely. And I struggled with this at the start because I wanted to look intelligent, and it's literally having to think like a copywriter. And it's not easy for some of us. I'm an English graduate, so I have a lot of words, hence a lot of slides. So it is hard to strip it back. But when you
Yeah,
strip it back, you're more top of mind and you're more memorable. Whereas I get people trying to be clever and they've got quotes and everything. And I'm like, what the hell do you do?
yes, yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's like really keep it simple. Are you a photographer? Are you a coach? Are you a speaker? Are you an author? Like some people I
sure.
genuinely don't know. So I do think, yeah, we try to look intelligent, but we
And
actually
and
use
don't claim that you're a visionary as well. That's kind of always a bit of a turn on.
or a guru or a guru or a yeah. There's a few kind of icky things, but
Yeah,
I think don't be afraid to add in some personality as well.
yeah,
Like you could put on the end of it like food addict or TV addict or just something that engages
that's a
people.
human touch. Yeah. Okay. Sorry
Exactly.
for interrupting. Yeah.
That was good. So, like the second mistake in relation to brand is I think a lot of freelancers don't build a company page, and LinkedIn is becoming more pay to play. So, you might have noticed since the start of the year, you now can only send 20 personalized connection requests on the free version of LinkedIn. You used to be able to personalize all your invites. And over time, LinkedIn is going to become a bit more like Facebook, and we're probably all going to be boosting ads at some stage in the future. So the only place you'll be able to do this as a business owner is on your company page. So I'm a big believer in building both your profile and your page. It's true you won't get as much engagement on your content on your page, but I think of it as why not have two for the price of one? You can create both of those URL links for free. You can stand out in two places and you can reinforce your message. So I'm a big believer. And I think on your profile as well, when you have got a company page, it looks a lot more branded. If you don't, you've got a grayed out area for your company, and that never really instills a lot of trust. So I would definitely build a page as well. So the second mistake is not having an engaged audience. So people not actively building an audience of their ideal clients. At the moment, you can send 100 connection requests every week. So don't there's no excuse to not have an audience of your ideal clients. So you really need to focus on building your audience if you don't have one. Too many people agonize over, oh, I'm getting these connection requests, I don't know whether to ignore or accept. And I'm like, well, that's not really the right attitude. You have to think, who do you want to connect with? And you need to go out there and find them, either attract them or find them. Okay. So, and if you're getting kind of stuck in your head as an introvert, always go back to your why and think, what's your end goal? What are you trying to achieve? I find as an introvert myself and an empath on top, if I think about myself too much, I can get stuck in my head and procrastinate and fall victim to perfectionism and stuff like that. But if I connect to my why, it kind of gets me over myself. So I'm going to quickly tell you my why, and I promise it's not going to take long. I think a lot of people shy about being personal on LinkedIn, but actually it really is your secret sauce, and it's what people are going to connect to, like, because so many people will be doing the same job as you and there's only one of you, so don't be afraid to share who you are. So I'm going to tell you a few things about me and my why, and then ask yourself, does that make you connect with me more, or do you think, oh, what an asshole for sharing that? So my why is a few years ago I had a pretty tough year or two, so I'm going to go through all the pictures. I was stuck in corporate in a job. I was good at it, but I hated it. I wasn't a PA back in Dublin. I worked on magazines and I couldn't get into magazines when I moved to London. So I kind of rebranded myself and got stuck in this job with a bonus, which was nice, but it was kind of like golden handcuffs. So I reached a point in my job where I was really sick of it. And I had a new job boss who didn't know what I did. And yeah, I was really unhappy. And my back went. So the top right is my sexy support stockings. So I was out of work for 6 months and I had a lot of time to think. Around that time, my mum, bottom right, was sectioned. She's got mental health problems. All my life, she's been in and out of hospital. So if you're thinking today, oh, it's easy for her, she likes LinkedIn, she likes to be in the spotlight, it's not. I was never like one for the spotlight. So my mum was hospitalized for 6 months. I got divorced from my first husband. And then my friend Katrina from Cork committed suicide. So this all happened around the same time. And I just thought, you know what, life's too short to play it small, to not like, you know, toot your horn, to say, look, hey, I deserve to be listened to. I deserve to have a voice. So that's why I do what I do. And now I help fellow female entrepreneurs to get their voice in the room. So sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional, but ask yourself, do you think, oh, what an asshole for sharing that, or can you connect on some of them? I can usually find people connect to either the divorce, somebody with mental health, or they've, you know, had surgery, you know, or lost a friend. You know, it helps people to connect with you. So don't be afraid to bring in some of you to LinkedIn, because there are lots of LinkedIn trainers, but there's only, I probably know them all, to be honest. There's only a small handful of us that are empaths that actually care about the person and are not going to be obsessed about the algorithm. We're going to have a more connection-based approach, and we'll all do it for different reasons, okay? So the third mistake, I'm just hopping on quickly, is people focusing 100% on content and the algorithm. And don't get me wrong, content is important, but it's not the be all and end all. People will always judge you on your profile, which is the ultimate content. And if you're not going into the DMs and having conversations, you can be on LinkedIn for years, spinning your wheels and getting no leads and getting no clients, okay? So LinkedIn definitely is an untapped platform for introverted freelancers, for everyone. In relation to content, you can really stand out because 90% of people are lurking because it's a professional platform and they're overthinking it. You've got roughly only 1 or 2% creating like regular content. You've about 9% of people commenting. I think introverts are amazing at commenting. So if you're not at the stage for like creating content for your business, start doing comments, because I think we respond really well to things. You know, somebody asks a question, we go straight in. Whereas if you put an introvert on the spot, it's a bit like shit. Oh, I don't know, what am I going to say? But I do think we're great at commenting, and it's a great way to stand out. And yeah, you can make great connections and get clients from commenting as well. So even though there's a great opportunity for content, it's a long game. So I'm going to tell you my approach, and I just want to spotlight quickly Larry, and tell you that when Larry came to me, she had 2 connections. Okay, so she was very new to LinkedIn. I'm going to take a quick sip, sorry. She had no content. She was newly qualified as a coach. She didn't really know what she was going to do. She didn't really have her niche. So I told her to focus on building her profile, connect with the right people you want to do work with, collaborate with, and go deep in the DMs. So within the space of like a few weeks and with less than 40 connections, she converted 30K from LinkedIn by going deep in the DMs. So she had no content at all. So hopefully this makes some of you happy, because you don't need to have a zillion followers on LinkedIn or be prolifically posting to get your message out there. But I find too few people are willing to go into the DMs. Okay, so another mistake I see freelancers making is not embracing enough LinkedIn features. They're just focused on how to post, whether it's like text only or a text and an image or a video, but they're not tapping into other features that LinkedIn offers you, such as events. Like, I'm a big fan of the LinkedIn event page feature in terms of generating leads and clients. It's the quickest way I can generate clients is through an event page on LinkedIn. And you can set up an event page for a webinar like today, something on Zoom, or a summit, or if you're going to go and do a LinkedIn Live, or if you're going to do like a LinkedIn audio event, you can set up an event page. So you can see this one, I did a summit last year for highly sensitive people, and I've nearly 900 people on that event page. That's 900 leads, okay? So I always think events are the quickest way for you to get leads. So that's one feature that's overlooked. Another is newsletter. I've got about, I think, 7,500 subscribers to mine. This is probably my second favorite way to get leads and clients, because you can go a bit deeper in a newsletter. And the benefit of a newsletter over an article is when you create your first newsletter, all of your first degree connections get a notification and they're prompted to subscribe. Whereas with an individual article, it's just like any content on the home feed. So it can be seen or not seen. So I'm a big fan of newsletters. So let me know in the chat box, is anyone using LinkedIn events, or does anyone have a LinkedIn newsletter? I'd love to know. Just put in live or audio or newsletter. And if you're not, I'll take it that you're not doing any of them. So maybe you're not. But I'm hoping I'm giving you some food for thought here today, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to wait a year or 2 years for my content to kick in for people to reach out. I want to get leads as quickly as possible in my business, and events is always the quickest way. So the fifth mistake I see people making on LinkedIn is having no social selling strategy at all, or not even really knowing what social selling means. Okay. And I'm just going to quickly just spotlight some common DM mistakes. I do obviously all of this with my clients, go into way more detail, but these are just the 6 most common DM mistakes. Never mind trying to get people onto a call or how you do an elegant pivot. The first is not using DMs. I hear from people, oh, I don't go into the DMs. And I'm like, well, why the hell are you on LinkedIn? The second is a generic greeting, you know, like could be AI. It's just, there's nothing to it. Third is long messages are the worst. They're like War and Peace. I always think you need to keep your LinkedIn DMs short and snappy, a bit like ping pong. Next, no clear purpose. People reaching out and you have no idea what the hell they're at. Not offering value, all one-sided. Me. But, you know, join my webinar, do this, join my event. Or no follow-up. People don't have a tracking system, so they lose track of conversations and they have no clue who they're chatting to. So they're the 6 most common DM mistakes I see again and again. And it's just about remembering that your DMs are meant to be about a win-win. It's meant to be about the 2 of you helping each other. So always ask yourself when you're sending a DM, is this one-sided, or what's in it for the other person? Because they will be thinking, what's in it for me, for every message that you send. So yeah, Peter, I can see you've raised your hand.
Yeah, Jen, just again on that, when you're making or trying to make a connection with somebody, is it better to put in a message, or is it better to leave it without a message?
Yeah, you'll talk to different LinkedIn trainers and you'll get different responses. So I personally like message. I connect with people way quicker if they sent me a message as well, because otherwise they just kind of queue up for me, and I have to mind read and go, what does this person want? Or I can guess from their headline whether they're going to pitch slap me the minute I connect, especially if depending on my title and what they do. So I personally prefer them. I think the only time I don't personalize is if I've done an event and I can see the people on the event page that they attended it. Then I sound, you know, like a non-personalized, because I presume they know who I am if they've come to my webinar. But yeah, you'll get different responses from different people. Some people will say, oh, I don't send them, don't give a message. I think once, as long as you make it short, don't make it too long. So it could be something short and sweet. Hi, Jen, was on your webinar today. I'm going to connect with you because of that. You know, it doesn't have to. I think when people go into too much detail, then people start thinking, is this leading to a pitch slap?
Yeah, sometimes what happens, and you connect with somebody and then instantly you get one of the in-mail messages saying, I want to help you with your social media account or whatever it may be, or redo your website.
Yeah, exactly. And not all these messages. I was going to say, I do actually have an online training on DMs as well, and I'll share the link with you as well. It's all about how to elegantly pitch to a sales call, basically. But I think a lot of the messages, they're not terrible in isolation. It's just they're too soon. You've not built the relationship. So they could be a good message when you're like 5 DMs in, but they're just too soon. They're at the start. And people just don't have the patience to wait. And it doesn't take that long to get into a conversation to figure out, is this person a lead? I think not so many people don't pre-qualify as well. People say, oh, for example, somebody could pop into me and say, oh, I'm really struggling with LinkedIn and I'm not getting any clients. And I'm like, right, okay, great. book my VIP day, and I've
Yeah.
not pre-qualified them. I have no idea what they do. And actually, when I chat to them, it could turn out they've no budget. They're at the very start and they need an ebook from me. So I think not enough people pre-qualify, they just go straight in.
Yeah.
But you have got online training, guys, that goes into this and how to do like an elegant pivot. But it's a case of just being willing to have a little conversation like you would in any network event, whether it's face to face or on Zoom. You have to do the chit chat first.
Yes. Very good.
So, this my framework is kind of based on all the mistakes that I see people making, because I see so many people obsessed with content and that they don't factor everything else in. And I believe you need a holistic approach to get LinkedIn working. So I have a PACT framework. It's all about making a pact with my client that this is going to work for you. So the P is about build your profile, build your company page. They are the solid foundations to everything you do on LinkedIn. If you send me a connection request or a DM or you post some content, I'm going to go back and have a nosy at your profile. So if your profile lets you down, it doesn't go any further than that. So it's like build your profile first. Then the second is about taking aligned action to build your audience. Again, there's no point in trying to build your audience if your profile doesn't look good. Okay, so now you have to figure out who is your audience, who do you want to connect to it, and actively do it, whether it's you reaching out, finding people to search, or you're attracting them to you with content or events. So it's about, constantly building and growing that right audience for you, because I chat to so many freelancers and they're still connected to people from their old job or their peers, but they're not actually, reaching out to the people that they want to collaborate with. So that's the second part. Then third part is connect. And you can connect in three ways, really. First is through content on the home feed, which is what everybody tells you to do, but it's not the only way. Second is comments. Like I said, comments are easy for introverts. We can easily respond to anything, and they're a great way to showcase your personality. And a lot of comments can be repurposed as content, because I find a lot of introverts are really good at responding to something. And then the last, the connect. So it's comments, content, and DMs. DMs is where the magic happens. It's where all the opportunities lie. So you need to be willing to have a conversation in the DMs in order to get people off onto a sales call. And then tracking, having some kind of tracking and nurturing system so you can follow up with people and you can nurture them. So I'd love to know in the chat box, what do people, can you see where your gap is? Like, is it you need to build your presence? Is it the audience, like taking action? Is it connecting or tracking? So I'd love you to type in either presence, action, connect, track. It could be all four. None of my clients are tracking before we work together. Absolutely none. Some have really great content, but they're not going into the DMs. Some have the wrong audience. Some need a few tweaks. Tracking, interesting. To be honest, none of my clients track. All four. Thanks, Sarah. The intake. Yeah, great. Okay, great. I'm glad you're seeing where the gaps are anyway. So this is great. So people by people who are trustworthy, relatable, and an expert. But you need to lead and prescribe, but only when people ask. And this is where people go wrong on LinkedIn. They try to sell to everyone. And there is a doctor method that I share with my clients. And when you go to a doctor, you're not feeling well, the doctor is the expert for you and you've decided to go. But there's a lot of people on LinkedIn acting like crazy doctors, trying to give drugs to everyone, and the people that want the drugs. So you have to look for cues. And obviously we don't have time today to go into all of this, but I'm giving you the cues that are buying signals in the DMs. Okay, so people mention they're struggling. So if somebody pops in and says, I'm really struggling with LinkedIn, blah blah blah, something like that. Or they compliment you and they say, hi Jen, great webinar, and then you can start a conversation. They seem very keen to chat, they're quite verbose. You're getting into a conversation and they're giving you long, detailed answer. They're keen, basically. And they're asking you lots of questions. You're using emojis or caps, for example, awesome, okay? So they're having this level of energy in the DMs with you, okay? These are only the people that you suggest the call to, okay? And I know some of you will be listening today and going, I'm not getting any DMs like this. And don't worry, my next few slides will tell you what you need to do to get DMs like this, okay? So only when you're getting DMs like this do you like pre-qualify and suggest a call, okay? People have come to you, they've self-selected like you would, they've put themselves forward, they're going to the doctor, they see you as an expert, and then you suggest the call because you've earned the right as their expert for some reason, whether it's they enjoy your content, they've seen you in a webinar, whatever, you've earned the right. Whereas so many people are going in and they don't know who you are, you're not their expert yet, okay? You've not chased. So I don't teach people how to chase on LinkedIn, okay? It's all about warm inbound or warm outreach. So if you're thinking, I don't have any of these kind of buying signals, don't worry. I'm going to tell you a little bit about client attraction, okay, for the last few slides. It's all about audience building, and I'm going to just focus on LinkedIn events. Like I said, they're the quickest way for me to get leads for me and my clients. So who doesn't want quick? So when I use LinkedIn events, whether it's to a webinar or LinkedIn Live or anything, I usually get my webinars booked out, 100 people, and then maximum sales calls. And this happens from one event, just it doesn't happen from like, you know, content over months or a year. So it's quick. So this is just a quick screenshot of a live I did with my client Susan a few months ago, and it was just a quick half an hour Q&A with my client. She got 6 sales calls from that LinkedIn Live and one big client. Okay, so not bad for half an hour for showing up. And at the end of that live, the main call to action was to go to a webinar, and on that webinar she signed up lots of clients. Okay, so Susan was only starting to do content. She is great, she's a communication expert, but she wasn't really doing content before that. So by using events, she got so many leads straight away, because on the event page you see everybody who signs up. So if you see at the top there's like 176 attendees, they are 176 leads that she can go into the DMs with and message, you know, and say, you know, hi, thanks so much for coming to my live, you know, and get into a conversation with them, and then pre-qualify. And if they're the right type of person, get them on a call. So who wouldn't want to get hundreds of leads like that? People stepping forward to say, I'm interested in what you have to say on this topic, okay? Because it can take a long time to get this kind of traction on content, and some people will never get it. And I'm not a content creator, you know, I'm not a, and I don't really, I don't know about you, but I love doing what I do, you know, do helping people with their profile, helping people connect, but I'm not on LinkedIn to be a content guru. And I don't think most of my clients are really. So I'm all about lovely warm inbound and lovely warm outreach, okay? So this is just a quick screenshot of Susan after the live, after bagging the client. So this is like what you get from fast tracking with LinkedIn events or using features, and not spinning your wheels for like weeks, months, years with content, waiting for people to come to you, because you're getting people to reach out. And I'm all about the warm, okay? So to get consistent 10K months on LinkedIn, this is kind of like a summary of your overall approach. You need to optimize your profile for your ideal audience, have the right network, and build a community and an audience, engage them, define and align visibility and content strategy, have clear messaging. Always think of the acronym KISS, keep it simple. I'm not going to say stupid, I say keep it super simple. Okay. Have clear messaging, have a tracking and nurturing strategy, which is where most people go wrong, and rinse and repeat, not spray and pray, which is what a lot of people are doing on LinkedIn. So who feels excited in the chat, or who feels confused? Or maybe you're a combination of both. I'm hoping that you can see what mistakes you're making, where you need to plug your gaps. And I'm just going to make 2 little invitations that I'll hopefully be excited about, because the first one is for all of you. So excuse this graphic because I made it this morning. It's quite crude. We're not leprechauns, but anyway, where most of you are today, I imagine, is in the clouds on the right hand side, a bit confused, but hopefully you can see what my system by building your presence, action, connect and track. that's how you generate the opportunities. Because if you're not doing all the four, you will get stuck and you won't generate leads and clients. Okay, so this is the kind of thing I do with my clients in VIP days, just a deep intensive on their business. I work mainly with female coaches, consultants, and creatives. I know you're not all women. I know you're not all female coaches and consultants, but what I want, this is for everyone. Okay, so I'm going to be doing my first live profile masterclass in 2 weeks. The last time I did one of these was 18 months ago. So I'm not a fan of false scarcity and bullshit like that, but this is a kind of a false thing, because when I make these, then they become an instant access course after. So I'm going to be doing a live 2-hour deep dive on profiles on July the 3rd. There's going to be a replay after, and it's not going to be a PowerPoint, okay? So it's not going to be a PowerPoint or a Canva presentation. It's an audit of my profile from the top to the bottom, and going into the tech of your whole profile, and going into the branding of the positioning, how you need to come across as a business owner. So if you really want to go into the profile in detail, come along. I've got 100 spots. I always cap my webinars at 100 so I can keep it engaged. It is 2 hours, but there will be time in there for implementation, because I want everyone to come away having worked a little bit on their profile, and I will be suggesting for attendees to connect with each other so you can get feedback on your profile from each other as well. So that's something exciting, hopefully, for all of you. You're the first people I'm telling about, and I've got another webinar tonight, so you can get first dibs. And then this is
Yeah, sorry, how do they register for that?
Oh, the link I will
Is it on your mysuperconnector.co.uk? Is that the one?
That's a sales call one, so it's one I emailed you earlier on, but I'll email it to you again if you're going to.
Okay, well, I'll have a look at the email. I'll see it before we end the session.
I'll see if because I know I copied and pasted a few things earlier, but they may not. Yeah, I'll see if I can. Oh, when you're chatting at the end, I'll try and get them up and stick them in the chat.
Right.
But don't worry, everybody else will send the link so you can book in for that. And then this is just for female coaches, consultants, and creative. Sorry, guys. If you are listening today and you're really fed up of your results on LinkedIn, you've got poor results, and maybe you're not getting any leads or any clients, these are for ladies who want to take action now, really. So I've got 20 spots in my calendar for committed action takers, because you have to take action to get LinkedIn working for you. There is no silver bullet. Okay, and the goodie is I will at least give you all one profile tip to make your profile more of a client lead magnet. And then for everyone, men included, in the workshop, I will be spotlighting people who step forward as well. So I will give feedback on people, for their profiles.
Jen, I found that link, so that's in there now. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
brilliant.
To the webinar or the session, the live session that you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. So I'd love to see some of you there. And if you can't make it live, there is the replay, and it's going to be so worth it. I promise. Not to toot my own horn, but my last one was amazing, and they're always amazing because nobody usually does them on the platform themselves. So I'm going to take you through every little bit. And I think for introverts, we need to feel confident that we've fully optimized, and then you'll have the opportunity to get tips in terms of branding as well. So I hope to see some of you there, and I'm going to stop this so we can jump into a few questions now.
That's great, Jen. You're very good. There was a question that I'm just trying to find here. It was about the question over newsletters versus
article, was it?
Yeah, was it who, Kieran, was it yourself who asked it now? Sorry, I'm just trying to look through you've had a very engaged session. There's a lot of messages here, which is super.
I like seeing the excited from people. That's good.
Yeah.
And I like that people acknowledge all four, with the gaps. So I appreciate that.
Jen, just talk about sorry, I found it. It's from Chris. Yeah. Would you recommend a LinkedIn newsletter over your own website blog and share it on LinkedIn?
You can do both, you know. You can repurpose your email newsletter or your website newsletter onto LinkedIn, you know. Don't feel like you have to have like completely two separate things. So if you're already doing something, repurpose it on LinkedIn. Usually for SEO, it's not great to, you know, copy something the same, but actually with newsletters, it's fine. You know, you might, maybe you just want to change the headline or whatever, but I'm a big fan of repurposing. So if you've got stuff already, do both, you know.
Mm.
I don't think you have to, it has to be an or, like one or the other. People who are interested in your newsletter, they they'll just they'll just look at your content in general a lot more. You've got different options as well. When you create one, you can either do a daily one, a weekly one, a bi-weekly, a monthly. I chose monthly because I didn't want the commitment, and I do the odd kind of bonus one that's a bit more frequent. So I would just pick a timetable that works for you. I have got a newsletter on newsletters, so it's very meta. So I would urge everyone to check out my newsletter because I've got one on LinkedIn events as well, which I talked about today. I've got one on how to set up LinkedIn Live. So do check out my newsletter because it goes
Right.
into a lot of the features. But yeah, definitely if you've got content already and if you like sharing long content, just set one up. It's a no-brainer. But yeah, I was not lazy, but I didn't want to commit to a weekly one.
Sure. Very good. One of the things that we talked about earlier on before we went live was kind of ranting on on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah.
Ranting or not ranting. And from my own personal experience of last Friday, ranting sometimes does work, even if it's only a mild rant. So my rant last week was about the kind of blind spot that seems to exist around freelancing and contracting when it comes to the media generally. When they talk about the world of work and the future work, there's very little mention of freelancers. So anyway, that seemed to get a pretty good response. But what's your view on ranting on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. So I said to you, I think we both need to rap more because my most popular bit of content ever was a Halloween rant of a newsletter I did 2 years ago, and I just let rip. And I think you'll like it if you read it, folks. It's long, but there's a lot of jibes in there about just business in general as well as LinkedIn. And I got the most sales calls from it ever, and people said they wanted more rants from me, and then I kind of backtracked. I don't know why, but I know when I do ranty comments, they get like giggles and stuff. And you know, I do think it's a great way to stand out. Maybe we block ourselves and we think, oh, I have to be
Yeah,
professional again, but I think it's what will make you stand out. It's actually your opinions. So
sure,
don't be shy to bring your opinions, because I think too many of us sometimes, including myself, can be focused on the education, I want to give value, whatever. But actually, when you have your little rant, you will call out the right people to you,
hmm,
and it will really help your business. So I
sure,
would say, and it establishes you as a thought leader because you're showcasing what you thought, you're responding. Like I said, introverts are great at responding
hmm,
to articles, videos. You know, I think we've got lots of ideas, but we need to be stimulated. So if you are someone who responds like that, like definitely have your little rant, because I think people, it'll become your favorite, like the favorite day for people to check out your content. Like
sure,
people, I would enjoy it. I'm sure most of us would enjoy if you did a
hmm,
Friday rant. We'd want to see what's your rant about this week, you
yeah.
know. And I think Dubliners like a bit of a rant. So I kind of blamed my Halloween newsletter on being a Dubliner, and because it was Halloween, but it was actually really me.
Yes,
It was the most popular piece of content, and then I
really.
kind of
Okay.
censored myself again. But yeah, so don't be shy
Yeah.
to be yourself, because people will connect to it, and there's a lot of generic stuff online, and
I
it
suppose
just
trying to strike that balance of not turning into X or Twitter where people just have a rant all the time and then hide behind the hand.
yeah.
Like
When
I
it's
talked about the negatives of LinkedIn being a bit too awesome and everything is brilliant for people, but at least people are not hiding behind anonymous handles.
yeah.
And generally the conversation is reasonably respectful and polite. So it's very different from other social networks in that respect, regardless of its kind of slight, say, tweeness about it. Uh,
Yeah, there's, as we said, there's a lot of humble brag,
a lot
but
of humble bragging,
there
yeah.
are
Yeah.
funny people on LinkedIn. You just need to find them, and I can think of a few people who make me giggle
Yeah.
who take the piss, and I think they do make me giggle because they take the piss and they're trying to be funny. They actually take the piss out of this one guy. I can't think of his second name, but he's so funny. He's a sales guy for a coffee company, and his name's Stephen. I can't think of his second name, but his content makes me laugh every day because he just basically is a parody on content influencers, and
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
just so funny. He's actually become an influencer
Really.
by
Yeah.
taking the piss out of influencers. But yeah, just be yourself, because
Yeah.
that's the content that's the most memorable. You
Sure.
know, because somebody else will be like, I agree, I saw that, and it is ridiculous, like you said about what you
Yes.
told me about the
Yeah.
freelancers. It is ridiculous. So I think you kind of
Yourself.
you feel compelled to share it anyway, and I actually think you're helping to spotlight things. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
bring
one
out the
here.
rant.
Yeah, there's a question here from John. Been recently DMing potential contacts and clients on LinkedIn. Response rate is low, little or no replies. Should I follow up with another DM or will I become another stalker? So,
When the response rate is low, like, I mean, I would give them some love maybe on their content before following up. So go in and engage on something either on their personal profile or their company page. It's like a little bit of effort before you go in, and they probably will recognize you and be more compelled. So yeah, I would give a little bit of content love before I go back. But usually if people go dead or quiet, it's because they're not interested, which is why I said it's really good to have the people come to you. It
yes.
makes it so much easier. Or it might be just that your DMs need a little tweak. So go back and have a look at your DMs, and maybe they were too long, maybe they were too detailed. Yeah, because I think sometimes people try to pack it in too much in the DM, and
Yes.
it could have really been 3 DMs, and they're kind of, because they're keen, they kind of put too much in at once.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would give some content love and then go back, because
Okay.
they hopefully remember your face, because everybody does really remember who comments on our content, because you're like, I like that person, they've given me some engagement. So I always think it's a good way in.
Yeah. There's two other questions here before we finish up, Jen. One from Garrett. Verify yourself. Lots of requests from LinkedIn to do this. Does it help?
Yeah. It's a personal choice. Like, I've not done it yet. Only time will tell. Like, you can verify in 2 different ways. One really is for your email. For some reason, it won't accept my email on my website. It doesn't seem to register it as a business. So the next way is with your passport information. And I know a lot of people are hesitant to do that. I tried to do it one day with my Irish passport, and it won't accept it. So I can't do it at the moment, but I'm not too pushed, to be honest. I think it's one of these. I'll only care if they're completely like limiting reach of our content. But it's a personal choice. I know a lot of people aren't doing it because they're like, I don't want to give my passport information to
Sure.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I don't think you have to do it, but only time will tell. It's one of those.
Okay. And this one, again, slightly tricky. Vicky, and she's asking, do you have tips on how freelancers can showcase work that they've done on behalf of agencies rather than just solo projects? It's a slightly difficult one. I think we've come up against this ourselves. I think the first thing you have to do is ask the permission of the agency, because sometimes agencies can get a bit peeved when work starts appearing that, yes, you are involved in, but maybe they don't necessarily want it known in public. What's your own view on that?
Yeah, like you say, it's always good to ask them. Um, you can spin it in a way that is a win-win. So you can create some graphics that really plug the agency as well as yours. So yeah, just redesign, let them see what you're going to post, then you kind of get them on board. But I think in relation to your personal profile, there is a project section, and it's a really underused section, including myself. So I always think, if I was like a website designer or graphic, or this person chatting here, Vicky, I would, in that project section, spotlight different types of clients and say, well, this is the type of work we did with X, this is what we did with Y, this is what we did with Z. So if you don't know how to add the project section to your profile, come along to my workshop.
Very
I'll
good.
show you how to do that. But there is a section on your profile, so you could say, look down on my profile, you know.